Yeah, so yesterday we have seen platform independent. Okay, I hope you understood why Python is known as a platform independent language. Okay, now we will start the next, that is fourth feature known as dynamically typed language. Okay, dynamically typed programming language, I would say. Just a quick reminder that from today onwards we have started our regular batch. Okay, so those who are really interested, they can enroll themselves as soon as possible so that we can go further. Right. So what is dynamically typed language? In go for this. Yeah, dynamically typed language means what? I'll go for first. Let's go for Python. I'll show you what is the meaning of dynamically typed. Then I'll go for showing the example. Let's say if I say a is equals to 10, what does this mean? Value of a is 10. And can I say 10 is integer data? Everyone knows that a is what? An integer data. I can say numeric data it is, right? And if I write the type of a, it is going to say it is an integer data, right? It is an integer data. Similarly, if I say a is equals to 10.2, what type of data it is? Float data. And also if I write something like this, we are going to get float, right? I say 10 plus 3j. It is a complex data, right? Complex data. If I write type of this, it is saying complex. Also, if you have noticed, before giving these values, did I mention or did I give any acknowledgement to the internal system that what type of data I'm using? Did I say, did I write anything? This is known as dynamically typed. That means at the time of run or execution, at the time of executing the code, or we can say at the run time, PVM decides what type of data it is. Who decides? Because PVM knows everything. Okay, whatever we give input, PVM knows everything, whether it is right or wrong, right? So whatever data we are giving here, we do not need to give any extra acknowledgement to the PVM that what type of data we are using. Type of data means category. What category of data we are using? Here in this case we are using complex. Here in this case we are using float. Here we are using integer. But I did not write it here, right? While declaring or initializing the variable, did I write anything? No. That means PVM knows everything. Implicitly PVM knows everything, right? And at the time of running the program or at the time of execution, PVM decides what type of data it is. Okay, PVM decides what type of data. But let's talk about other programming language. Okay, simple, you check for addition program in C programming. Okay, addition program. If you check in addition program of C programming, you will find out that while initializing the variable, we must have to give what? Data type. That means what category data we are using, what type of data we are using, right? So number one, number two, number three, here we have three variables. How many variables? Three variables. For these three variables, what type of data we are using? Integer type of data we are using. Here we have to explicitly we have to give the explicitly we have to declare that what type of data we are using here. This is known as static type programming language. What it is? Static type. What is dynamically typed programming language? Python is one of the dynamically typed programming language. That means explicitly we do not need to declare the data type. Who is going to take care of that? Python virtual machine. Okay, PVM. So I would say let's go for two data types. We have two types of programming we have. Okay, programming language programming language are of two main types, two types. Okay, two types. First, that is known as static typed. It is known as static typed programming language. And what is this static typed programming language? Variables. Okay, variables must be declared with data types. Okay, to avoid compile time error. I'll show you what is compile time error. Okay, so no need to worry what it is. I'll show you what is compile time error. What is static typed language? What is a static typed programming language? Must we have to declare the data types. Okay, all right. For examples, I would say C. Okay, C++, Java. I would say .NET. Okay, .NET and etc. I can say. Are you getting it? So every time what we have to do, we have to declare the variable plus data type as well. Okay, data type with variable. But what is dynamically typed? Okay, the second one, dynamically typed language. Here in dynamically typed language, the variables don't need don't need explicit data type declaration. Are you getting it? Data type declaration. Also, python python is an example where the execution process or execution environment determines the data types data type. Okay, or data type, I would say, based on the value the value used in the program. Are you getting it? Is it simple to understand? Do I need to explain it? Okay, right. Next is, I would say, in Python, all values are stored as object. Already we have seen, and behind these object, okay, these object, uh, there is a classes are there. Okay, behind these object, classes are there. Okay, so what is the meaning of dynamically typed? We do not need to declare explicitly, we do not need to declare the data type. Okay, implicitly, at the time of execution, pvm is going to decide it, that what type of data it is, based on what, based on the given input. Okay, based on the value what we are giving, right? Online guys, is it understandable? Yes, online guys, is it understandable to everyone? Right, everyone. Give me a quick confirmation. Okay, fine. Let's move. Let's move to next one. Yeah, dynamically typed. We have completed dynamically typed language, right? Then this is a fifth one. Fifth one is something known as interpreted programming language. Python is known as one of the interpreted programming language. Why? Okay. So let me give you one simple scenario of what is interpreted programming language. Okay. How does it actually work? What is the working process behind the screen? Okay. What is the background process? How does the PVM works? Or how does the code is being converted or getting generated into bytecode, and that bytecode is again generated into the machine understandable code, and again it is giving back the result to the user. How these things are getting done? Okay, let me show you with a simple pictorial representation of this. That is, I'll go for paint here. Yeah, so let's go for starting of this. Okay, whenever we are writing a program, okay, whenever we are writing a program, we have, for a particular project, I'm saying, okay, whenever we are writing a program for a particular project, we have to save. Okay, we have to save that particular file or the program in such a format. That format is what? There is an extension called .py. Okay, every Python file are getting stored or getting saved in the form of, or in the extension called .py. Okay, file name .py. We call it as file name .py, right? So how it is getting stored, and how actually we are going to see how the stored file is being converted and how it is working. Okay, behind the system, let's suppose I am taking one source file here, and when I say source file is nothing but, source file is nothing but, tell me what is source file? Yes, what is source file? Source file, what we are writing as a programmer, what we are writing. Okay, that is a source code. So that is a program, we can call it as the program what we are writing. It is also known as source code, right? So let's suppose there is a source code, and I am giving this particular source code name something as, let's keep this as example, right? Example.py. Example.py. This is one of my source code here. Okay, example.py is my source code here. I would say it as source code. Okay, this is my source code here. Right. Once we write the source code, this source code is getting transferred, or we can say it sends to the compilation process. Where? Compilation process. Spell it out. What it is? Compilation process, right? Then this compilation process, what it does, I'll tell you first of all. So this particular code is being converted into, let me do one thing. Okay, now this particular source code is now getting converted into what we can call it as bytecode. What it is? Bytecode. Let me write it here. Let's keep it as bytecode. Bytecode. Okay, bytecode. And this bytecode, it is getting converted into bytecode, and this particular bytecode, I would say this is going to be changed as example.pyc. Okay, after compilation this particular byte source code is getting converted into what? pyc file. Okay, pyc file. So let me do one thing. Right, and here this is known as compilation process. What it is? Compilation process. This is known as compilation. Now what is this compilation process is? What is this particular compilation process? This is a compilation process, right? This compilation process, the meaning of compiler in Python programming is to check for errors, syntax error. Okay, the purpose of compiler in Python compiler is what? To check for errors. Okay, and also compiler used to or compiler helps the source code to convert, or we can say the program to convert the source code into what? Bytecode. Source code into bytecode. And this, I would say, this particular thing is running line by line, line by line. Okay, this is running what? Line by line. That means whatever the compilation process is also been happened here, that is also done what? Line by line. So interpretation meaning is what? It works line by line. Okay, it always works what? Line by line here. Are you getting it? Is it understandable? Right. Next, after this, once the source code is getting converted into bytecode, here this bytecode is also known as, we can also call it as intermediate code. Okay, here we can say, I would say it as intermediate code. Okay, intermediate code. Right, intermediate code. Okay, this is known as intermediate code. Now after this line, after this particular process, now again my bytecode is being transferred to something called, now it is a pvm. Who is that? Pvm it is. Okay, Python virtual machine. Are you getting it? Okay, now here also what it does, in this particular case also, this is our execution process. What it is? Execution process. Okay, this is known as execution process. From this time onwards it is going to start the execution process. Okay, so what we have till now, source code is getting converted into bytecode. How? Line by line. Okay, line by line. This particular process also will get done line by line, line by line by line. Okay, this is also getting done line by line. Is it understandable till now? So far so good. Do you have any question? This execution process also will get done line by line. This compiler process also line by line. Are you getting it? Okay, now after this I can say this whole thing, this whole process, okay, this whole process I can say, okay, this is known as, okay, and this is known as, I would say, interpretation based programming language. Okay, interpretation based programming language. Now what this pvm does, okay, till now we have seen that compiler checks for error, also convert the source code into bytecode, right? But what this pvm does here, Now let's talk about the PVM. Let's talk about the PVM here. Now, the main aim of PVM, the main purpose of PVM, let me do one thing. Okay, and here I'll write. Okay, PVM reads PVM reads line by line of byte code and convert it into machine readable form. Okay, or machine readable code, I would say. Machine readable code. Okay, let me do one thing. Right, check it for PVM what it does. Yeah, go ahead one more time. PVM reads line by line of byte code and and convert it into what? Machine readable code. Once it converted into machine readable code, and uh, operating system reads it and send it to processor for further result. Okay, I would say this is the interpretation process, how it happens. Okay, so let me check with this now one more time. This is known as PVM. Okay, this is known as PVM, Python virtual machine. Am I clear? So how it does? Okay, one more time. Go ahead. Source code. Source code is what? The code which programmer write. Okay. Source code. Next, source code is being transferred to who is converting source code into byte code? Compiler. Compiler, right? Compiler is also used for what? Checking for errors, right? Compile time errors, or we can say syntax error also, we can say, right? Compiler is used to convert source code into byte code, as well as it also checks for the error. That is one more thing, that it converts source code into byte code one by one, line by line, not at a time. Okay, in other languages like C++, there there also we have compiler. Okay, that the work of compiler over those languages is what? To convert source code into machine code at a time, in one go, we can say. In one go it converts whole program source code into what? Machine readable code. But here, how compiler is running, source code is being converted into byte code, that is also line by line. Compilation process, compiler checks for error line by line here, not whole at a time. Okay, I'll show you with the example as well. Okay, now this is a line by line of compilation process. After compilation process, once our data becomes byte code, this byte code, or also we can call it as intermediate code, is being converted into what? Or we can say is being transferred to PVM, Python virtual machine. This Python virtual machine executes the particular program. How it executes? It reads line by line of byte code and convert it into what? Machine readable code. And operating system reads it and send it to the processor for the further process, or we can say the result. Finally, it gives the result. Are you getting it? How it is running? One by one. It is a hierarchy, right? Source code into byte code into byte code will come to PVM. PVM again convert this byte code into what? Machine understandable code. This machine understandable code will send to OS or processor to further process, for the further process. Are you getting it? How it is getting done? line by line. Everything is what? Line by line. In other languages, whenever we write a long block of code, if any kind of error is there, it is going to first run whole code, then it is going to give you the error. Okay, and that too, all the error are getting displayed whole at a time, right? All, if I have 100 line of code and if 10 errors are there, at a time it is going to give whole 10 errors, all the 10 errors at a time it is going to display. But in Python programming, or those programming which are interpreted programming language, there all the errors, we can say one by one it is going to display the error, not all at a time or whole at a time. Okay, first we have to resolve the first error, then it is going to move to the next error. Until we complete or we resolve the error, first error, it is not going to move to the second error. Are you getting it? Let's go and check it for this Python. Okay, let's take a simple example here. If I go for something like, okay, I have already this. Let's take for I in range of, what this is you do not need to understand now. Okay, what this particular line you do not need to understand. I'll tell you what it is. When we go further, we will see this for and everything, right? So for I in this, I would say print of j, print of j, and also I will say something here. Okay, while writing this, I will say in range, in place of I, I'll take s. Okay, let's take, let's not go for this, I'll go for something like Jupiter. There itself it is giving the output. Let's go for Jupiter. I'll show you one simple example here. Okay, why, how it works line by line, or how it checks line by line, right? Let's go for new one. Where will be this bytecode stored? In your system only, Himanshu. As a program, as a particular code, it is going to store in the system only. Okay, any question? It is not a proper binary code. Okay, it is kind of a code which we can also not understand. It is an intermediate code. No, not 1010. That is a machine understandable code, right? Bytecode is something, I would say it can be X, or it can be understandable by the compiler. Okay, compiler. It can be understandable by the compiler. Compiler then again convert or send it to the PVM, the processor, we can say, and then it converts bytecode into what? Machine understandable code, right? Once again repeat this topic. Which one, Satish? Okay, let's go for it. For let's say for I, in place of, we have to use in, I am writing is. Okay, for I is, let's say range of 20. Okay, what it is I'll tell you later. Okay, and also I'm giving k. Do we have k here somewhere? Do we have k which is storing any value? No, so it is going to give error for k. But before this, it is going to give error for is operator. Check what it is saying. For which line we are getting? It is indicating where we are getting error is. How simple it is. This is known as syntax error. This is known as, and who is checking this? Compiler. Who is checking this? Compiler. Immediately, if compiler gets any error, immediately it shows the error on the console or display. Okay. Also, let's resolve this. If I say if I in range of this, immediately it is going to say name error, where it is saying in the second line of code. I had error in this as well, right? As well as in this particular line. But where I got the first error in the first line of code, and it wasn't showing second line. Yes, that means it always checks the first error, and then once we resolve that first error, then it is going to check for the second error. Are you getting it? So this is the meaning of interpretation process. That means once it get converted into byte code, it is going to check for error also line by line. It is going to convert the source code into byte code line by line. Also, PVM also read the code line by line. Are you getting? That's why it is known as interpreted programming language. Line by line, it checks for error. Line by line, it reads the code. Okay, fine. So shall we go for notes? Okay. So let's go for naming convention. Okay, naming convention. So every time whenever we are writing our Python code, okay, convention. Whenever we are writing our Python code, every time we have to save with the extension called dot py. Okay, dot py. Byte code means it is a intermediate code. Satish, it is an intermediate code. You cannot understand what it is. It is an intermediate code. Okay, meant for system only. Right. So Python programs, I would say, programs are saved uh, with the extension with the dot py extension, and that is, I can say, the file name dot py. Okay, file name dot py. Let's go for the internal process of this. I would say it is the first one, the first. The second is the internal process. What is the internal process of this? What is the internal process of this? Here also I'm going to divide it into few modules, like compilation process. What is the compilation process here? What it does? Tell me. The source code is getting converted into bytecode. So I would say the Python source code is checked first, or checked for syntax error by the Python compiler. Are you getting it? It is getting checked by whom? Python compiler. Okay, if no error are found, it's converted into what? Bytecode. That we can call it as .pyc extension. And then again, if error are displayed error are displayed if syntax issues, I would say, exist. Okay, syntax issues exist. This compilation process, com. Okay, shall we go for execution process of this? Okay, execution process. Is it understandable to you guys? Okay, the Python virtual machine, we can call it as PVM. Okay, reads the data, or reads the byte code. Okay, reads the byte code. How? Line by line. Okay, line by line. Okay, converting it into machine machine readable. Okay, machine readable code. Okay, machine readable code, right? Next is this code is then interpreted by OS. Okay, by OS and processor. Are you getting it? Processor to produce the final result. Okay, I would say result, final result. Are you getting it? Okay. The third one interpreted interpreted based language. Interpreted based language. We are in module of this. Okay, naming convention we have seen internal process. Now we are seeing what? Interpreted based language. Python is what? Python is one of the interpreted language. Okay, Python's execution environment involves a line by line conversion. Okay, conversion process that making it an interpreted programming or interpreted based programming language. Got it? Okay, now let's see what is PVM here. PVM, or let's say Python virtual machine. Python virtual machine, what it is? What is Python virtual machine here? The PVM is a part of Python software. Also we can call it as it is a part of Python environment. Okay, Python execution environment, right? It is a part of Python software, reads bytecode line by line and convert converts it into machine readable code. This is the meaning of what? Meaning of PVM. Did you understand? Any question? Yes, online guys. What is the benefit of having an intermediate code? Intermediate code, see, it is kind of a translator. Okay, it is kind of a translator. If you, Himanshu, let's say I know Hindi but I don't know Telugu, right? Some people know Telugu but they don't know Hindi, but one people is there which knows Hindi and Telugu both. Can I say that person, I guess, yeah, so can I say that person is an intermediate person for both of them? Intermediary person which can convert Telugu to Hindi and Hindi to Telugu. Yes or no? It is also work like the same. Compiler has the particular I can say power to convert source code into byte code, and compiler can also read the byte code, because he that particular compiler only converting source code into byte code, right? So byte code can be understandable by the compiler, and that byte code will be then transferred to PVM for the further process. That means conversion of byte code into machine understandable. That machine understandable is nothing but our binary code, zeros and ones. Are you getting it? You can also say, if you check, let me check, let me show you. Yeah, ASCII values. If you check this particular table, here for every value, every particular character, you can say, every character has its own decimal value. Okay, every particular code has its what? Decimal value. What is this decimal value? You check if I write how the particular internal process get to know about what the programmer wants to say. Okay, let's suppose I am writing a code for calculation. I'm saying write a code for calculation. So I will say, okay, if a person is entering two numbers for addition, so we have to use plus operator. If a person is using two operator operand and wants to subtract the value, then we have to go for minus operator, right? Similarly, we have lots of operators, right, for different operations. But how PVM is knowing this, or how the system is knowing this? Now you check, if you check for every value, if you check minus is there, plus is there, for every value there is a specific decimal value, and this decimal value, I can say this is a interpretation process, sorry, intermediate process. What it is? Intermediate. How it is getting done? Let me show you how it is getting done. Just give me a moment. Himanshu, is it understandable to you? Himanshu, let it open first. Okay. Let's take an example, but in other programming language also, the source code is converted to machine code without intermediate code. Right. Yes. So you might have missed this then. There also we convert the source code into intermediate code. Without intermediate code, we cannot go further, right? Intermediate, what is? Let me show you. Let me show you what is intermediate code. If you check here, every value, every individual character has its own decimal value. Okay, has its own decimal value. Now let's suppose you are writing any program and you are saying that how particular the system is running, okay, behind the process. So let's suppose you are using plus operator. You are using that, you know that it is a plus operator, you know that it is a plus operator, right? And you are giving to the, or you are giving input to the console. Okay, you are giving input to the you can say programming language. Okay, this plus operator, we know that what it does, adds the two value, right? But how the system is getting to know about these things? This 43 is the decimal value. This is getting converted into 43. It is a decimal value for this. Decimal value. This intermediate process happens for every programming language. This plus operator is what? It is a input from the user, or we can say the programmer, right? This 43 is a decimal value for this, that is a specific value that has been assigned to only for plus operator. Then again after this 43, we, the system who is going to convert, the system is going to convert this 43 into binary number, binary value, that is 0 and 1. And this 0 and 1, who can understand? Machine can understand this. So can I say we have given the source code that is getting converted into intermediary code, intermediary process, then this intermediary process is being converted into a binary. Are you getting it now? Yes, Himanshu. 43, if you want to check, you can check it for this also. 43, how to check? If you want to check the binary value of this, you divide it with 2 and take the LCM 2. Check it for this. What is the value? 2 twos are 4, right? Next is what? 2 ones are 2. What is the reminder here? 1. Similarly, you go for next one. Okay, go for next one. 2. Because why we are taking 2? Because the base of binary always would be 2 only, because we are using how many values here? 0 and 1. That's why the base of binary is 2. If you, this is an example, don't worry, I'll be explaining this particular term again when it comes to data type. Okay, there also I'm going to explain you this. So if you convert again, 2 ones are, and it is going to give you, so it is going to become 0. Okay, 10, 2 tens are 20, right? Again 1, 2, 2 fives are 0. Next is what? Next you take 2, 2 twos are 4. Next what it is going to give? Sorry, 2 twos are, oh sorry, 2 twos are 4, right? What it is going to give? 1. Next is 2 ones are, what it is going to give? 0. Check it. The answer would be 1 0 1 0 1 1. The binary value of 43 is what? 101011. You want to check? You can check it. Binary of 20. Binary of what it is? 40? 43 it is, right? 43. Binary of 43. Check it. 101011. 101011. 101011. Got it? This is how we check, and how it is getting done. Whatever the input we are giving, we are, and the system is converting into what? Intermediary process. Intermediary code, we can say, is being converted into what? Binary. This is the actual process of every programming language. It is not Python only. Python means it is an interpreted programming language. That means every or we can say every code has individual line, right? So it converts all the process line by line, not whole at a time. That is the only difference. Are you getting it? And the similarities are what? Every programming language has its own intermediary code. It is not like that only Python has this particular thing. Are you getting it? Okay, yes. Online guys, Himanshu, am I clear to you? Okay, fine. I'll tell you how to convert this binary into decimal, decimal into binary, again octal into decimal, decimal into octal, hexadecimal into decimal, and decimal into hexadecimal. Everything I'll tell you. Those who know, that is good for them. But those who don't know, it is a simple maths. Okay, it is a simple maths. We are going to see it later on. Right. So virtual machine PVM is this, right? PVM. Next, sixth, our sixth feature, that is high level programming language. Python is one of the high level programming language. Why I'm saying this? There are two types of programming language. One is low level programming language, okay, which depends on, or we can say that is a only can be understandable by the machine. Okay, we can call it as machine understandable language, low level language. And another one is high level language. Python is one of the high level language. Even though, why it is a high level language? Even though if you give low level language, it has the capability of converting that particular low level language into what? High level language. So what are the low level language? It could be our binary language, octal language, octal number, binary number, hexadecimal number. This easily can be converted into what? High level, that is a decimal value. Okay, so let me first, in the in the context of programming language, sorry, yeah, you can say types of programming language, we have two types. Okay, so one more thing, I'm not don't get confused that because going to take, I'm going to use this context of types of programming language few more times further. Okay, so it is based on types of program internally, high level or low level. Okay, so they are first low level programming, okay, language, and second one, that is high level programming language. Okay, high level programming language. Now what this low level programming language? First of all, we will see what is low level programming language. Okay, or should I stop it here? Should I stop it here? Hmm? Shall I continue? Okay, let's see. So in these programming languages, okay, we use lower level data, okay, or level data representation. And what are they? I'll tell you. Representation like binary, okay, octal, and hexadecimal. Okay, this data isn't, or I would say is not immediately understandable by the programmer, or we can say programmer or end users. Okay, end users. For an example, if I say in Python only, if I say something like, let's suppose, clear it. If I say something like, acha, did I, oh, okay, leave it. I'll take another one. Right, now let's suppose there is something like 0b 1010001. Are you able to understand what it is? Are you able to understand? You will understand, definitely you will understand. I'll tell you one method so that you will understand it. But can you immediately understand this? No. And check what value we are getting. Can I say I have given low level data and Python has converted low level data into what? High level data. Are you getting it? Now if you check here particularly, this data is not immediately, okay, immediately understandable by the immediately understandable by the programmer or end user. Are you getting it? Okay, like program, like examples. If I say, let's say a is equals to 0b, okay, 0b, I would say 10101010, like this. Are you able to understand? No. Okay, let's say I will say b is equals to 0o, I would say 23. Are you able to understand what it is? But this is a octal data. This is a octal data. Where do we use this? I'll tell you. Okay, let's say c is equals to, I'm taking something like 0x and let's say 176. Are you able to understand this? No. This is a hexadecimal data. Okay, and mostly these are, yeah, binary language, we know that it is understandable by the machine. Okay, But these kind of data mostly use when it comes to mostly the hexadecimal. It is mostly used in storing the data address. Okay, for address we are using it for making the address. I'll tell you how. Okay, I'll tell you how. Actually we are not going to make any address, inbuilt it has. Okay, but how it is storing the data in the form of addresses, I'll tell you. But for now, are you able to understand this? Are you able to understand that this is a binary number? Okay, binary number, binary. This is what? Octal. And this is what? Hexadecimal. This is hexadecimal. Okay, and today we have seen low level data. Monday I'll tell you what is high level data. Okay, high level data is nothing but, let me give you overview. High level data is nothing but, even though if you give this kind of data to the system or to the programming language, it has the capability of converting these kind of data into what? High level data. Python is one of the high level programming language. Python is an high level programming language. Even though if you give a low level data like binary, octal or hexadecimal, it has the capability of converting those data into what? High level data, or we can say machine human understandable data. Are you getting it? Okay, shall we stop it now? Do you have any question? Do you have any question? Yes, Satish, Himanshu, any other? Only Satish, Himanshu are responding properly. Yes. No other questions? Give me quick confirmation so that we can wind up here. Okay, shall we stop it here? Sorry? No. Mm, as long as I know, I don't know any other dynamically language. Python is there. I think there is a Go language is there. Go. Okay. There is a Go language. It is even I also don't know. I haven't referred to that. But there is a Go language. Once you check whether it is dynamically or static. Yeah, R programming is also there. Right. R programming mostly used for statistics and all this data analysis. Okay. When we use R programming, mostly we use for data analysis. We don't use even R programming, at some extent R programming can also use machine learning codes. Okay, but at some extent only. We cannot go for AI programs over there, like deep learning and all, right? So there are, as long as I know only about Python. Okay, Python is one of the dynamically typed language where we do not need to declare data type. Okay, shall we stop it here? Okay, and try to join as soon as possible, guys. Okay, yeah, thank you so much, guys. So see you on Monday. Have a wonderful day and keep practicing. Bye bye, take care.